Okay, Greg, your watch is done. All right, where to begin? So, you said you liked black and gold look, so this is what I came up with. You've got a gold, polished gold chapter ring inside, signature polished gold crown, and this is an aluminum flat insert to match your flat glass. And this insert is from the only place, there's only one place you can get this. So I hope you like it. Anyhow, I thought it would be the perfect look for this. This is what I came up with, and you said to run with it. So that's what I did. I have taken your dial down to just a date dial only. And this is a Yoboki's, sort of like a Marine Master style dial. But it's really cool because it has this kind of funky looking green loom, and then he actually has these hands to match the dial, but the loom is just a little off, so it kind of like when it's under the light looks the same, but when you're looking at it, it's kind of got like a two-tone look to it, which is, I really like it because it makes the hands stand out. The hands are a brushed gold Marine Master style with the red seconds tip. Yeah, that's the look I came up with. And all right, now for all the issues. So we discussed a lot of the things before. I was able to save your case back and continue to use it with this watch. Just made some adjustments to the spacer ring and was able to get this to seat properly on there and hold the dial and movement in place as it should. New case back gasket. This crown has a new gasket on it as well because the ones that it came with didn't fit this case tube, the screw down tube, tightly enough. So I went through all my O-ring gaskets and found one that worked perfectly. What else? Gasket. Okay, so this case is really funky. I mean, we already knew that to begin with. But I mean, it is so much more different than any aftermarket case I've ever seen before. Like, I don't even know if you can tell like where this case back gasket goes in. But it actually sits inside of a recess that's in the case itself. On a standard SKX case or an aftermarket case, that's made to be almost, one-to-one spec with the SKX case, there is no recessed channel that the case back is going to sit in. It's going to sit flush against the case itself. The only recessed channel would be for the gasket to go into. This has like a recessed channel for the case back and for the gasket. It's kind of unusual. Anyway, all it's going to do is allow you to get like dirt and grime in that little crack around there. So I don't know, probably won't be bad, you won't even notice it, but just not the way that Seiko would have designed it. All right, moving along. And then, so this glass is actually your original glass as well. I was not able to do sapphire. I had a sapphire crystal I was trying to put in here, but nothing would work. And nothing would work with the aftermarket crystal gaskets that I have that are one-to-one spec with Seiko's OEM gaskets. I don't know why. I mean, this crystal and the sapphire crystals that go in the Seikos are off by like a couple of tenths of a millimeter. Don't know how that could affect it that severely, but basically when I would put the sapphire crystal in with the Seiko gasket, it would just fall out. Like, I mean, literally fall out. And then when I would put it in with your original gasket, the same thing. So I used your original glass after cleaning it up all nice, and then cleaning up your gasket because your gasket was still good, and used that. So that is what it is. It's the only way that I could continue using this case. And then the thing that gave me the hardest time out of all of it was this bezel. So when you take this bezel off and look underneath, it doesn't have normal slots for the click spring like a Seiko one does. It's just got like a whole bunch of lines, like all the way around, and like on here. I don't know how to. I guess I could show you on this. Hold on. So on this stock, this is actually bead blasted, but it is a OEM Seiko bezel for an SKX. You see it's got like these little rectangle channels that the click spring drops into. Every time you click it, it drops in, and because the click spring is only like coming out up like this, like it comes up like this, so as this is going around, click, 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 it drops into there, and then you can't move it back because the click spring doesn't go that way. You know what I'm saying? But on this bezel, all it has is little like raised lines all the way around. It doesn't have little rectangles. I mean, it's probably, this is a 120 click. I would say this is probably like a 240 click. I don't know. It's really weird. But the other weird thing is that the little channel inside of it right here, you've got like a little channel, which is where the bezel gasket sits in, and that's what actually, I mean, there is a little like lip around the outside of the case here, where when this goes on, it has to push over that metal lip, and then the gasket goes underneath that and kind of like locks in, let's see here, locks in like that, and keeps it from coming up off of there, you know, sliding off. The gasket's what holds it in. Whew, I'm tired. Anyway, so the channel on this bezel is like very shallow as opposed to the Seiko one, which is fairly deep. And then on top of that, it has a very thin bezel gasket. Well, I didn't like the way that this bezel was feeling when you click it on there, because it's very, you know, loose. More, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's looser than a stock one on a, you know, stock case or a good aftermarket case would be. So I was trying to come up with a solution. So number one solution I tried, the first one, was to obviously put a OEM Seiko bezel gasket on there. Well, that made it so tight that you literally, as you rotated it, it would seize up, and then it would cause the bezel to ultimately work its way off, which blew my mind. But anyhow, I've literally had this bezel off about 10 times. Then I came up with the idea to try to switch you over to a coin edge bezel, because I have two different PVD black coated coin edge bezels. Well, neither of those would even fit on this. As you press them over, they wouldn't even press. They just, like, you could push them on and then you could pull them off, push them on, even with the bezel gasket in there. So this case is obviously way off specs from a Seiko. So that is why I had to use as much of the original parts as possible in order to make it work correctly. Then the other issue was that I had to switch back to the original bezel gasket. So it works as it should, and it's a lot more improved than it was before, and that is due to the fact that I noticed that the click spring is the only thing that I could change on this that allowed me to utilize an actual Seiko OEM part, and that was a OEM Seiko click spring for the bezel. That actually worked, and by putting that on, it allowed this to have a lot better feel to it, and stay on with the original gasket as it should. Only issue is that you'll notice it's got, let's see here, it's got a little play in it, but you know, over time, even a stock Seiko, an original Seiko, as the bezel gasket wears out, will get loose like that. So I mean, it is what it is. But I have worked several nights on this now, and pulled out what's left of my hair to get it to work. But anyhow, there it is, man. I hope you like the way it looks. I think you're gonna be happy with it. And also, I thought that I would, you know, obviously you're gonna get your original strap back, but I don't know how you like the way that that looks on there. But I do have this I was gonna give you because I never use it, but I thought it was a nice match for this. It's a tan, almost gold in color Zulu strap. It's not a NATO like yours. I mean, I think yours is a Zulu NATO or NATO / Zulu because it's got the 5 rings on it. This one only has 3, but I don't know. I'm gonna include it just to include it. And then I've got your original parts in here that I'm gonna send back, and I think that's it. Yeah. So there it is, man. I hope you like the way it looks. Here, yeah, push this in, screw this down. There you go. Oh, hold on. Let me wipe my fingerprints out there. I usually hold these with finger cots, but I've had my finger cots on all night. I didn't feel like wearing them no more. All right. There you go.